Hello, thank you for joining us on CORETV News Hour. I am Frank OMALAPEH. A federal high court in Lagos has ordered the more than 50 operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency to vacate with immediate effect the Lagos residents of the senator-elect Forogu East Senatorial District, Buruji Kashamu. Operatives of the NDLEA had laid siege at Kashamu's residence in Lagos since Saturday, saying it had received a formal extradition request on Kashamu from the government of the United States of America and was coming to court to secure an extradition order. But Justice Ibrahim Buba, in a bench ruling Tuesday afternoon, pronounced the action of the NDLEA a sub judice and ordered the men of the Nigerian police to ensure that NDLEA operatives vacate Kashamu's premises without a free-for-all. And our Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Mohammed Adoke, has refused to comment on issues surrounding the house arrest of Senator-elect Buruji Kashamu in Lagos. He, however, insists that the new criminal justice bill recently signed into law by President Jonathan will address challenges in the administration of justice system in Nigeria. Adoke, who spoke at the public representation of the 2015 Criminal Justice Act in Abuja, said the law will help check impunity and abuse of human rights if well implemented. The police authorities have ordered watertight security around the inauguration grounds across the country, including Eagle Square in Abuja. Inspector General of Police Solomon Arache issued the order at a meeting with command commissioners of police in Abuja. Arache warned troublemakers to stay clear of inauguration venues across the country or risk being arrested and prosecuted accordingly.
The preparations for the handing over ceremonies. That is one of the reasons why the commissioners, they are going to brief us to tell us how prepared they are, their state of preparedness, to ensure that there is no breakdown of law and order, that the ceremonies they go peacefully, both in the federal capital and in all the states of the federation. The officers that we sent across the length and breadth of the country to go and ensure that the enforcement of our directives on roadblocks and intelligence-led policing, they have reported back. Before the officers you leave, we are going to show you pictorials, bullet points of what they came up with, so that you could see what is happening in your various states. And to also re-emphasize to you that we are serious that these things have to be enforced, and that our technical platform is active and robust. So it is very, very necessary that you people will enforce the rules that we have put in place to ensure that we have a safe and secure environment.
General of Police Solomon Arache has announced the arrest of the two kingpins responsible for the recent wave of kidnapping in Ekiti State. He, however, attributed the successes recorded, especially with the rescue of 10 hostages, to community partnership with the people of Ekiti State. Addressing commissioners of police from the 36 states and the FCT here in Abuja, Arache promised to deal with criminal elements across the country. He maintained that the police will not allow any individual or group to hold any state captive.
To turn any state in the federation into a Hobbesian state. Wherever we find them, we will pursue them, we will arrest them, and we will prosecute them. So I want to thank the officers who went into Edo State and Ekiti State. Ekiti State is also heartwarming that we were able to, through community partnership, rescue the 10 victims. And as at this morning, we have arrested the kingpins, two of the kingpins who were responsible for the kidnapping syndicate at the time.
Former Minister of Defense Haliru Bello on Monday night emerged as the acting chairman board of trustees of the People's Democratic Party. Bello Haliru, who was also a former acting national chairman of the party, replaces Tony Anini, who resigned from office last week. Outgoing President Goodluck Jonathan was expected to be named as Anini's successor, but he declined the offer. This paved way for the emergence of Haliru Bello as Board of Trustee Chairman in acting capacity.
The work of the Board of Trustees is to act as the conscience of the party and to advise the National Working Committee on how to move the party forward. And we are determined that we will pool our ideas. Most of what remains of the founding fathers of PDP are in the Board of Trustees. And therefore, we will make sure we use their collective wisdom. We'll also reach out to all our members in all the states of the Federation so that we will bring the party back to the grassroots.
We are going to collaborate to take the party back to the people, the grassroots. And by so doing, we are going to reinvent, reposition ourselves for the new position of PDP to provide vibrant and robust and constructive opposition.
Plateau State Governor and factional chairman of the Nigerian Governors Forum, Jonah Jang, says he will be leaving office as the poorest governor in Nigeria. Jang said this while speaking in Jos at an interdenominational service to mark this year's Democracy Day, which happens to be his last after 8 years of stewardship in the state. While challenging his critics to go check the records and prove otherwise, he insists his government is submitting a detailed handing over note which copies he said he wished every Plateau State citizen has. The governor has been accused several times by critics of awarding contracts to cronies and not allowing employment in the state civil service in 8 years. The All Progressive Congress has denied claims that its National Working Committee has decided to zone the Senate presidency to the North Central and the Speaker of the House of Representatives to the Southwest. The party insists that nothing like that ever happened. APC National Secretary OMALAPEH said in a statement that the party was embarrassed by the story which he argued was planted in the media to sow seeds of discord in the party. He noted that the National Working Committee never discussed the issue of zoning at its meeting. APC National Secretary explained that nothing has changed since the president-elect expressed his readiness to work with anyone who emerges as Senate presidency or Speaker of the House of Representatives. All the parties involved in issues that led to the nationwide fuel scarcity have reached an agreement at a meeting brokered by the Senate President. Chairman, Senate Committee on Petroleum Downstreams Magnus Abe disclosed this after a closed-door meeting on the sidelines of an investigative hearing on the nationwide fuel crisis. He noted that following the resolution, oil marketers and tanker drivers will begin to leave fuel at depots within 6 hours of the agreement. That's from yesterday, 7:30 p.m.
Smiles and handshakes all around. This is how the stakeholders who came with grievances ended the meeting brokered by the Senate. It was designed as an investigative hearing to find out the cause of the nationwide fuel crisis. But the senators led by Magnus Abe and Emmanuel Polka called a meeting on the sidelines of the hearing. After the closed-door meeting, Senator Abe gave an insight into the peace deal.
We have been able to reach some understandings that we believe will bring immediate solution to the immediate problems in the supply and distribution of products nationwide. I also want to thank the GMD of NNPC for his determined intervention with the unions within the NNPC that also resulted in a solution to the problems of the strike in the NNPC just in the course of our meeting right now. So as we speak now, we have clear information that the Nupeng and Pengasin strike has been called off following the intervention of the GMD and this committee.
There was also a subtle threat to withdraw the license of any marketer who refused to lift fuel within 6 hours of the end of the meeting. One after the other, the stakeholders voiced their acceptance of the agreement that also involved striking oil workers and the government.
But because we have really discussed, I'm sure that from today, it is also known that we are not fraudulent and that the words like we don't trust should be removed from the minds of everybody.
The GMB has promised that AGO will also be loaded in most of the NNPC depots for our trucks to use while conveying the other products, PMS, both jet oil and DPK.
We're able to unravel so many aspects, from logistics to finance to very many other parts of the problem that hopefully will now be resolved as we move forward. In our own case, we endorse the summary you made, and we'll move forward on that to issue a letter to Moman and Dapman, just noting that there's a committee working, and the outcome of that will be documented, and government is continuous.
The meeting indeed ended on a good note and left many wondering why it took the intervention of the Senate. Senator Abe dropped hints on the issue of trust in an interview with newsmen.
I think it's all about communication and understanding. We're able to hear each other clearer, and I think that everybody is also committed to trying to find a solution. So people had to give and take. We extracted commitments from all the parties. So everybody is giving up something so that Nigeria can move forward, because the country is virtually grinding to a halt.
For now, there is respite for Nigerians, at least on paper. But it remains to be seen when the queues will disappear and motorists will be able to easily drive into fuel stations and buy the product without hassles.
And despite the decisions by few marketers to start the lifting of fuel, commuters in the Federal Capital Territory in Abuja are still having to trek long distances to work. This is owing to the continued hike in transportation, which is yet to abate. Commuters will hitherto wait to board vehicles have been rushing to get into the few buses available.
You can get off the view now. You don't ask me to off it. I'm doing my work.
And socio-economic activities in the Nigerian capital were on Monday at an unusually low ebb as a result of the worsening fuel crisis. This has forced residents to demand some form of proactive measures from the outgoing government to address the situation in the country. Our correspondent, Basi Aye, completes the report.
These are some fuel stations in the Federal Capital Territory. And like many others, they are not dispensing product of any kind. But this one in Highbrow Maitama district is functional. On inquiry, CORETV News found out that only a few privileged individuals are being serviced. But even in their present state, motorists are still on queue to get a product that is seemingly not available. Some say they have been at filling stations for about 3 days, all to no avail. Now they are asking government to give reasons for their predicaments.
Today night they sell in there between 10 and 11, they sell fuel. They sell fuel. To some people, we beg them to tell them petrol, they say no. I'm stranded here because I can't go back. I don't have fuel in my car to go back. I better just leave the car here.
On Saturday, I came here again. On Saturday, I parked my car here, and to my greatest surprise, they did not sell fuel. Saturday, Sunday, I was here. Even up to today, Monday, I'm still here waiting to buy fuel. I'm here with my car. If I go, I'll just go and take my bath and come back just to get fuel. I don't know what is going on in the country. If it's the subsidy, they should remove it so that we will rest.
This man says he had to rely on public transportation to get to the office, but is angered by the hike in fare.
Very unbearable. over the weekend, not having to be able to drive your car. As you can see, I was just trekking down now, parking my car at home. This is my car key. I couldn't drive it. I had to take a public transport down here, which was very, very exorbitant, if I could put it that way. So many people are stranded. They are stranded. Not many people could afford to even find their way to their destination. Well, from there, like from Utako to this place, now I had to pay like 300.
In the light of all this other man can only see a bleakness ahead and is wondering how May 29 would play out.
We are meant to be celebrating Democracy Day. We are meant to be celebrating 29th of this month. But do you expect me to come out and celebrate? To celebrate what? When I don't have food on my table, when there's no light in my house, when I don't have water? This morning, as early as 5 a.m., go to the road and see. Try it yourself tomorrow morning. Go and see what is happening on the road. As at 4:35 a.m., you see masses on the road. Somebody that is earning 20,000 naira salary, you spend 300 naira to and fro, 600 naira. How much is your salary? It's heartbreaking. It is painful. And like I said, it is devastating. Until the country will know what to do and solve this problem once and for all. Otherwise, I repeat, we are heading to God knows where.
As the fuel situation in the country gets worse and Nigerians recount their travail, they can only hope that respite comes soon. From the streets of Abuja, Basiaye, CORETV News.
Watching CORETV News on the hour. We'll take a break now. Be back with more stories after this time out. Join us again.
Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on Digit 360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.
All our top stories can be found on our social media platforms, like our Facebook page is facebook.com/CORETV News. You can also, at the same time, follow us at CORETV News NG. For live streaming, log on to youtube.com/CORETV, leave a space, the news. One of the two senators jostling for the Senate presidency has described the fuel subsidy scheme as one of Nigeria's biggest frauds. Senator Bukola Saraki, who is also the chairman of the Senate Committee on Environment, claimed that $32 billion has in the last 6 years been paid to people who lacked capacity for fuel import. He told journalists in Abuja that most of the 82 marketers licensed to import fuel under the scheme are bogus operators. The former Kwara State governor argued that it would be better to remove fuel subsidy than to continue to pay
Running
for
government
inefficiency.
nowadays has a lot to do with capacity and ability. I mean, you might be a nice guy, you might be a very friendly guy, you might be this, but really, as I said, running government now is like running companies. You got to be able to look at the person and say, okay, does this person have the capacity to do it? And when you don't have it, this is the kind of issues that this way you find ourselves and find the country, because there were decisions that should have been taken in the interest of the country. But unfortunately, you know, those that had interest and had his heirs did not allow him, and those that could to advise, they're easy to hide. They don't like you, don't come close to them. And if you remember when some of us left the party, some people convinced him to make a statement that good riddance to bad rubbish, and if you look at it today, there's no way the PDP will have gone down this way if he had kept all these people on board. So that's just an example of where bad advice led to this.
In the meantime, the Nigerian Labour Congress has advised outgoing President Goodluck Jonathan to take decisive action against what it described as the oil cabal in the face of the current fuel scarcity. NSC President Ayuba Waba said in a statement on Monday that the cabal are only concerned with obtaining money from government without rendering the needed services under the cloak of subsidy. It maintained that those responsible for the impunity and corruption in the oil sector cannot continue to hold the country to ransom. And the Supreme Court has advised the Presidency and the National Assembly to work out an out-of-court solutions to the constituency issues over the Constitution Amendment Bill and report back to it. The court directed the two parties to meet and harmonize their position on the ground that the issue in dispute can be resolved without court intervention. Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Mahmood Mohammed, will lead the panel of 7 justices gave the advice at the hearing of the suit. The Apex Court also struck out a motion filed by counsel to the Attorney General of the Federation, Ojo, to substitute AGF with the President as a plaintiff. Ojo had insisted that the legislators failed to fulfill the requirement of Section 9, subsection 3 of the Constitution, which requires 4 over 5 members of the National Assembly.
The only areas we're complaining about are 10 out of 65, almost next to nothing. So I'm sure, as the court pointed out, when the two parties sit down, they can iron the gray areas, and then we come back and report the settlement in wetland. So we thank their lordships for their wisdom and their guidance.
I'm hopeful that both the executive and the legislature in this matter put their heads together and resolve this very simple matter and division be avoided. But let me say that I am extremely glad that the Supreme Court has responded, as fathers of the nation by saying, let there be peace. And I think the best legacy, the best gift the President and the 7 National Assembly can give to Nigeria is resolution of this issue amicably, so I can have, a new amended or alteration of the Constitution.
The outgoing government has submitted handover notes to the Transition Committee of the All Progressive Congress ahead of the May 29 presidential inauguration. In a brief ceremony attended by permanent secretaries of government agency in Abuja, Vice President Amadi Sambo charged the incoming administration to study the notes closely. He added that permanent secretaries will be available at any time to clear gray areas if the need arises. Responding, Chairman of the Transition Committee, Ahmed Joda, said he was not disappointed over the level of work done by the outgoing government and promised that the incoming administration will continue viable projects.
These are the printed copies, and the ones in these folders are the original copies presented by the ministries and other agencies of government. And the permanent secretaries of each ministry have signed and initialed each page of this report to authenticate and own it. And it is our pleasure to present it to you and pray that it will help guide you and guide the incoming administration. So it is my pleasure for me to formally present to you. This is yes, you want me to give all. This is one set of the report. Thank you very much.
There is continuity in government and in governance. Our duty and interest as a committee is to examine these reports carefully and to make recommendations that are not only sensible but practical, especially in the realities that we have to face in the next few months, perhaps few years. In a way, we are beginning from a beginning.
Well, and that's it on CORETV News at this hour. Many thanks for watching. I am Frank OMALAPEH. Bye-bye for now.